Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Mile High Stadium in Denver, where today the Denver Broncos host the San Diego Chargers. And as we take a look at the standings in the AFC West, you can see the problem of the Denver Broncos. Their record is 8-1. San Diego 1-8. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Jimmy Cefalo, and Dan Reeves, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, has a motivation problem for this game.
He does, but he's been trying to impress upon his team that just because they are 8-1, playing a team that's 1-8, does not mean they're guaranteed victory here this afternoon. But his players, no matter how many times he tells them that, they are not stupid. They've been watching films all week. They realize the Chargers are 1-8 and did not play very well last week during the second half against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Now, the San Diego Chargers, on the other hand, they have an entirely different problem. They have a new head coach. His name is Al Saunders. This will be the second game for him as a head coach. He was a Chargers assistant. Now, motivation is really not his problem at all.
No, motivation is much easier when you're 1-8, because when a new head coach comes in, the players realize that their jobs are on the line. They're going to be evaluated every single week, and the best way to make a good impression on a coach is to play well against a team that's leading the division with an 8-1 record.
But a lot of injuries, as most everyone knows, as far as San Diego is concerned. The quarterback will be Tom Flick. Dan Fouts and Mark Herman are out with concussions.
Yes, Tom Flick completed 8 passes last week. But the problem was he completed 4 of them to the Kansas City secondary.
It's a good news, bad news.
Yes, yeah. He'll probably try and throw the football a little bit more this afternoon than last week, because the the Broncos are very strong against the rush.
Now, if San Diego is able to do anything, they will be going to one man, because he's going to rush the ball. He's going to be receiving the ball. He'll be at punt returns and kickoff returns. Many have called this young player one of the most exciting new players in the National Football League.
Very true. Gary Anderson leads in all of those categories for the Chargers, both in rushing, receiving, punt returns, and kickoff returns. He not only has great speed and quickness, but he also has great leaping ability, as you're going to see right here. A great nose for the end zone, as he displayed through the air in Week 1 against the Miami Dolphins.
So he is the exciting part of the San Diego offense. But in reality, I think it'll be the San Diego defense if the Chargers are to stay in this ballgame.
I think you're right. The Charger defense played well in the first half last week against Kansas City, shut them out. And they are going to have that kind of a performance for the entire half against a very, very strong Bronco offense.
San Diego won the toss and have elected to receive. Rich Carlos will be kicking off, number 3. In the hearts of the Bronco fans, number 3 in the program, and pronounced Carlos, not Carlos, as so many have said. And Gary Anderson, the key man for the Chargers, is set for the return. Now, remember a year ago when he returned it 98 yards. This one will come up short on the other side. And San Diego will have the ball as Kevin Wyatt returns it just outside the 20 to about the 22-yard line. And we'll take a look at that offense. Tom Flick with Gary Anderson. Curtis Adams is scheduled to go, but it may be Tim Spencer. Spencer, of course, bothered by an ankle problem. Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler, and Kellen Winslow, the receiving corps. That offensive line, Lachey, Clappin, Masick, McKnight, and Kowalski. They will start with Holohan in the backfield as the extra tight end. And he'll be back there as a blocking back to give us to Anderson, and he pops it to the 27-yard line. So he'll pick up 5 on the play, and it'll be 2nd down and 5 as Jim Ryan makes the tackle.
Gary Anderson, as we mentioned before, strong, fast, does everything well. Here he gets a very deep handoff, which is good for Anderson. He has great instincts, and they try to get the ball to him as deep in the backfield as possible so he can break a hole. That way he can cut back against the grain or do exactly what he wants to do against the defense, depending on what he sees with his cutback.
Again, Holohan in the backfield. Chandler shows motion. And Anderson the ball carrier. And he'll lean close to the 29. It's going to be 3rd down and about 3. Defensively for the Denver Broncos, this is the basic set with Jones, Cragen, and Townsend. And the linebackers are Jim Ryan, Mecklenburg, Hundley, and Tom Jackson. In the secondary, we'll see Louis Wright and Mike Harden at the corners with Dennis Smith and Steve Foley at the safeties. And as you know, on the Broncos defense, they'll use between 18 and 20 players. They use all 8 defensive backs and all of the linebackers. 3rd down and 3 from the 29. Tom Flick has not thrown a pass, and he will throw here as protection. Far side, it is there, and it is good for the 1st down. So a confidence builder as he goes to Kellen Winslow. A confidence builder for Tom Flick.
You're absolutely right. Tom Flick had to complete some of these short passes early on. Last week, as we mentioned, they ran the ball so very much against Kansas City. They wanted to get him a little confidence today early on. And the best way to do that is to go to the short passing game to a tight end. And Kellen Winslow makes the catch for the first down.
Well, one of the things that they're going to have to do is give him a first read. He has to go with his primary receiver, and if he's covered, just dump him off. He's not going to be able to read the field. He doesn't have that experience. Is complete to Winslow again, and he is dropped by Dennis Smith. And one of the problems, of course, when you're not going to take time to look anybody off, is that a young quarterback has a tendency to look at a wide receiver as he's coming out of the huddle.
Yeah, wide receiver says, don't look at me the entire time. That's a good way to wind up at Mercy Hospital. Here, though, Flick, a very poor fake. You see that it was just kind of a token handoff to faked handoff to Anderson, and he wanted to go right away, as you said, Charlie. He knew he wanted to go to Winslow right away, and he looked at him immediately. That could create a problem because the defensive backs like Steve Foley for the Broncos like to stare at the eyes of the quarterback.
And here is Anderson, and the Denver defense is there. Be a loss of a yard from the 37 to the 36. It'll be 3rd down and 8 as Ricky Hundley makes the play for Denver.
And this is the situation that young Tom Flick and the Chargers wanted to stay away from, because 3rd and long situation here. A week ago against Kansas City, they went to the running game in this kind of a position. Very unusual for San Diego's offense. But in this case here today, they said we're going to try to throw the football a little bit more. But the Broncos know it's going to happen. Look for a blitz by Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos.
3rd down and 9 from the shotgun. Good protection. Far side pass is there. It is complete for the first down to Trumaine Johnson. Steve Wilson makes the stop, and it's a first down for San Diego. Or was that Wes Chandler? May have been Chandler.
Well, anytime you have a Wes Chandler, he's a great move receiver, meaning that you don't have to worry about his blazing speed, but as you see, he pushes Wilson off and breaks back. And another confidence booster for Flick, because now he's thrown to the wide receivers. You see that? First, he winds up throwing to the tight end, maybe a running back underneath. When he starts going to the wideouts, you know he's feeling pretty strong.
A gain of 13 on the play. First down at the 48. A flag is down. Anderson to the outside. Makes a nice move, but a motion call, we believe, against the Chargers. Yes. And the San Diego, a decided underdog in the ball game. Some say as many as 2 to 3 touchdowns. They can't afford to make any mistakes. Fred Silva is the referee.
Offense, number 88. Illegal motion. 5-yard penalty.
Fred Silva. Now, that's a name that NFL fans have known for years and years and years. Only the 4th time that he's refereed this year. The reason being is that he had a triple bypass, and he's in great shape. But what happened is that one of the officials at another crew got sick, and Chuck Heberling, who was to be the referee here, they moved Chuck to that crew, and Fred came in to referee this ball game. And it's a 1st and 15. A juggle, a recovery, and an incomplete pass.
And that's fine. You know, Tom.
They got away with it.
That's right. Tom Flick stayed away from disaster, and that's the most important part about that particular situation. You know, when the ball pops up in the air and you're a young quarterback, panic time just sets in. But watch him. He takes it. Now that's panic. Makes a nice catch, first of all. Looks to the right. And he knew he had Charlie Joyner in the vicinity. And so what he did was simply find an open spot. Joyner broke inside. There you see him. And he misread it, but at least he threw the ball in a safe area, threw it far enough so nobody would catch it.
And he also did. He had Rulon Jones in his vicinity, too. Which means that he couldn't dog it. 2nd and 15. No score. We're in the first quarter. Curtis Adams, the ball carrier. And he picks up close to 5 yards on the play. It's going to be 3rd down and 10. The ball back around the they're marking the 47-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd down and 11. And defensive changes for the Broncos as they look for the pass here. Reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser most valuable player for today's game at the conclusion of the contest. So San Diego has picked up a pair of first downs in this drive. They converted the last time on 3rd down 11, throwing to the left side. And that was the read of Flick. They've not thrown to the offensive right, which is Louis' right side. Looking left, throwing left. And Trumaine Johnson tries to pull it down. They're going to say yes, he does on the sideline. And will have the first down, a gain of 13.
Now you see Wilson complaining on the sideline. The question is, did Trumaine Johnson get both feet down or not? And if he did not get them down, did Wilson push him out of bounds if he was able to get them down? Let's see. It seemed that if the push did not occur, the referee, the official, ruled that Johnson would have been able to get both feet in bounds. Apparently on that call, he did not get him down, but would have been able to had Wilson not forced him out.
So Flick has now completed as many passes to the Chargers as he did last week. He has 4 completions, and he's got confidence throwing on first down. It's a screen, good call, and it's Anderson. And he has 5 yards to the 35-yard line of Denver. It's going to be 2nd down and 5. Something is unfolding here. The one thing that Dan Reeves talks about all week long, and that is that a 1-8 team can move on you, is happening as you take another look at the play. And the other thing that is happening is that the Chargers are gaining some confidence.
Well, Tom Flick said last week he had studied so much. He had been staying up nights and reading his playbook and studying, watching film. He thought when he went into the game he was a little bit tight, but he promised himself coming out today. Well, that's a nice way to say it.
Well, he should have been there. Everybody would.
That's right. He said coming out today he was going to play football, simply about it. Stop just thinking about all the things that he was supposed to get done.
And here is Anderson to the 31-yard line. Gain of 4. It's going to be 3rd down and about a yard. And now let's check the games in progress. First, the early games. 4th quarter, Jets big in front of Atlanta. New England out in front of Indianapolis. They had to come from behind to take the lead. Chicago, as expected, leading Tampa Bay. Look at that final. New Orleans upsetting the Los Angeles Rams 6-0. 4th quarter, Kansas City comfortably in front of Seattle. They'll be here against Denver next week. And Houston in front of Cincinnati in the 4th quarter. Another one working there. Washington winning over Green Bay. That was expected. Minnesota, they're a good ball club. I think they'll make the playoffs. Buffalo by 4 over Pittsburgh. Here we have no score, and it's 3rd down and 1. The opening drive. And it is a first down as Curtis Adams carries to the 28-yard line. Now, Curtis Adams, leading rusher in preseason last 2 years for San Diego. As he goes out, he was scheduled to start. Tim Spencer has an ankle problem. Take a look at Curtis Adams in action.
Yeah, but watch the block by Spencer, 43, cleaning the hole. A nice big-size hole for Adams to fit in behind. You're right, Spencer. There's been so many injuries to the Chargers, especially to their running backs and their quarterbacks, for that matter. Buford McGee is out on injured reserve. Lionel James is on injured reserve. Plus, the injury to Spencer has forced Curtis Adams into a key role this afternoon.
And a look at the drive and the time running off of the clock. And Denver has not had the ball as yet. No score. Here's a quick screen far side. It's behind a lateral. They can throw it. Winslow is open at the 10. No, he stepped out. He stepped out inside the 8-yard line. That was a lateral pass. It will be a gain of 20 yards. It will be first down and goal to go.
And you would imagine that Kellen Winslow will never be that wide open again in his entire life. There was nobody within 10 yards of him. A complete nice fake, a nice full job on the part of the Charger offense. Now, he can throw the football here. He's down on one knee, but no one's touched him. Olahan can get up and toss it, but watch how wide open he is. And over so close to stepping out of bounds. The official right on it, though. Marks down of bounds, about the 8-yard line.
First down and goal to go at the 8. You're taking a look. It was a backward pass.
Yes, it was backwards. That means he can stand up. Olahan can and throw the ball downfield. No question about that one.
So the Chargers with a threat. Anderson, and Anderson gets to the 5. They may mark him. Let's mark him down at the 6. It'll be 2nd down and goal to go at that point.
But this is where the Bronco defense has been their strongest, inside the 10-yard line. Last week against the Raiders kept knocking on the door, going inside the green zone, as we call it, from the 20-yard line in, but we're unable to score. This is where the Bronco defense likes to try to strip the football away, and you can bet that Al Saunders has been explaining to his running backs and wide receivers all week long that when you get into this area, cover up, because the Broncos like to strip the football.
You call it the green zone because that's where you make the money.
That's where you make the money, inside the 20.
2nd down, goal to go at the 6. Flick, this is a timing pattern, and it is incomplete. He was throwing the far side to Wes Chandler, and he was picked up by Mike Harden. And that's just a looping pass into the back corner of the end zone, and the race is on.
Now, this is a guessing game, though, offensively for Al Saunders right now. The Broncos in previous weeks had run man-to-man inside the 10-yard line exclusively. They come last week into the Coliseum in Los Angeles, and they play all zone, and because of that, they really crossed up Mark Wilson. And here now, they played man-to-man on that particular case, but Al Saunders has to be wondering, what's it going to be? Do I call a man pattern or a zone pattern?
And Bruce Matheson is now the quarterback. This is a change at quarterback. He used to be with San Diego. It's a quarterback draw. And he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. So the Chargers trying to put it all out. And Mecklenburg was the first man there for the Denver Broncos. But the Chargers' opportunity flitted away when Kellen Winslow stepped on that sideline, because he really was wide open. And the Chargers, in reality, with everybody hurt and injured, need that kind of a trick play to score right now, at least until they get the confidence going.
Yes, they do. Tom Flick, the young quarterback, toughest place to complete a pass is inside that 10-yard line zone. And I think that most of the stadium realized when Bruce Matheson came in, it was going to be some type of a running play by the quarterback.
25-yard field goal attempt by Benershka. A flag is down. The kick is good, but there was a flag drop. So let's wait on the call. It is against Denver, and the San Diego Chargers now will have a choice.
But there really isn't much of a choice, but as you can see, they're going to decline. It would have still been 4th and 2.
Lining up in the neutral zone, decline, field goal is good.
So San Diego with the field goal from 25 yards away. San Diego had the ball 9 minutes and 23 seconds, and the Chargers lead. 5 minutes and 37 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first quarter. And look at the number of plays in the Chargers drive. 17. 72 yards, ended with a field goal, and they ran 9:23 off of the clock.
And probably the unusual call where Bruce Matheson came in to run that quarterback draw at the end. Al Saunders had to be thinking, we need something out of this drive. We really do, for the confidence of the team. And so they went with a safe play, kick the field goal, and get some points out of the drive.
Mojiko with a strong leg sails it to the back edge of the end zone where Gene Lang will down the ball. And Denver will go to work for the first time on offense from their own 20-yard line. And, of course, they'll be led by the great John Elway. Sammy Winder and Gerald Wilhite, the two running backs, with Johnson, Watson, and Kay as the receivers. And that offensive line of Studdard, Bishop, Bryan, Howard, and Lanier. And, of course, Keith Bishop, bothered by that knee injury last week against the Raiders, in only for the snaps. And Elway will come out throwing. And the pass is incomplete, a little high for Steve Watson. Of course, Elway has to be cold. He's been on the sidelines for that long drive.
That's right. He's been on the sideline for quite a long time. It also breaks the string of 11 consecutive completed passes by John Elway. A week ago against the Raiders, he goes 0 for 1 on his first pass and then winds up 11 for 12.
Williams, Unrein, and O'Neill, the starting defensive line, with Billy Ray Smith, Plummer, Benson, and Robinson, the linebackers. Taylor, Bird, Dale, and Glenn. Now, Glenn has started at free safety. Bird has moved out to right corner, replacing Donald Brown. And it's 2nd and 10. Reverses to Sewell. And he has about 6 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 4. So the Broncos, like the Chargers, using a little deception, trick kind of plays. They both like to do that. Yeah, and they both show it early.
Yeah, a little bit of misdirection. He's been called, Steve Sewell has been, the Carl Mecklenburg of the Bronco offense, because he plays so many positions. He plays running back. He plays wide receiver. He plays something called the H-back that they like to use on occasion. And there you see his great ability to pick a hole and hit it. He also has wonderful speed, which makes him a real deep threat when he lines up wide, which he's going to do right now.
And it's 3rd down and 4. With 4 wide receivers overloaded on the right side. Throwing back underneath the coverage, the pass is complete. And it is a 1st down. Vance Johnson, he of the great speed. And when you talk speed, he has been clocked officially in the 40 at 4.28. And after that, they went out and measured to make sure that it was 40 yards.
He's got that scary speed. There you see him limping a little bit. He was on IR with a knee problem early on, and hopefully for the Broncos' sake, it won't be serious. But he does have amazing speed. 4.28 on a grass field is remarkable. And other unusual thing about him, you see all that movement he has. Most sprinters, a la Bob Hayes, are great straight ahead, but don't have that great lateral movement. Vance Johnson is different because he does have great lateral movement.
A gain of 10, first down Denver, converting on 3rd down and 4 at their own 36, and a flag is down as Sammy Winder carries. Winder goes to the 43 if the play stands up. Billy Ray Smith makes the tackle for the Chargers. San Diego offsides is the call.
Dan Reeves has to be thinking maybe the best thing that happened so far in this game.
Number 99 on defense. Offside.
There you see Lee Williams being called for the offsides call. But Dan Reeves must be thinking that, that long drive early in the game was probably the best thing that could have happened to the Broncos.
Oh, he's walking the sideline saying, I told you all week.
I told you they could do it. Now, maybe you'll believe me. Yeah. Now maybe you'll wake up and do something about it. And coaches like that kind of thing. They sit in the sideline and say, I told you, and now you have to believe me that the Broncos have to play better against that offense of the Chargers today.
Coaches are like parents, aren't they?
They are.
First down and 5. Chargers lead 3-0. First quarter. 3.5 minutes to go. There's pressure, and the pass is incomplete to Sewell. So it'll be 2nd down and 5. The ball at the Denver 41-yard line. In case you joined us late, San Diego took the opening drive, started their own 22, went to the 6-yard line of the Broncos, and almost had the touchdown on the trick play, which went from Flick to Holohan on a lateral, which looked like a tight end screen. He then threw to Kellen Winslow, who was wide open. Kellen unfortunately stepped down right at the 8-yard line. He was just right along that sideline, or he would have gone in for the score. But they settled for the Benerska field goal, and San Diego leads at 3-0. And of course, Denver the overwhelming favorite in this game. And it's 2nd down and 5. Here's Sammy Winder with a big hole. And he has the first down and still going into San Diego territory. 14 yards for Sammy Winder.
Sammy Winder has really been the reason that the Denver Broncos have not had to rely as much as in previous years on John Elway's arms. They came into this year thinking they wanted to try and establish a running attack, and thanks to Sammy Winder and Gerald Wilhite, they've been doing that. But that play may be called back, and it is going to be.
Formation.
An illegal formation.
Line of scrimmage, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
You have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage.
Right. They have too many or too little. That's
well, you can have too many.
Yes, right. You can't have too little. You cannot have too little.
I can tell you it's for being too little. so an unfortunate penalty. Let's check the early games. The Jets winning over Atlanta by 14 points. New England over Indianapolis as expected. Chicago as expected. Not expected. New Orleans, big upset over the Rams. Kansas City downing Seattle soundly, and Kansas City plays here against Denver. Elway airs this one out to Johnson and knocked away. Good defensive play by Gilbert. There you saw the reason that Bird was moved to defensive right cornerback.
Yes, Gilbert has got experience at that cornerback position. 2 years ago, he was a starting quarterback for the Chargers. Here, I have to think that Johnson is a little bit gimpy with that leg. I was watching him going downfield, and he has that blazing speed. Now, he did have to wait on this football, but in all probability, John Elway held it back a little bit, noticing that Vance Johnson was not in full stride. He looked a little gimpy going out for that one.
And you said something that will seldom be said when the Denver Broncos play, that he had to wait for an Elway pass.
Yeah, well, during the week they were kidding around, and Vance Johnson said to Elway, throw it as far as you can. I'll bet you can overthrow me. Elway said, I can't.
3rd down and 10. Elway has pressure. He is in the grass. He will be sacked. Leslie O'Neal was the first man there, and the Chargers have the sack, and there's a flag down up at the 45-yard line, and then another one at the San Diego 45-yard line. So I predict a conference to be held.
Good prediction.
So a surprising start here at Mile High Stadium.
contact. Number 37, 42 on the defense. 5 yards, first down.
A legal check by Jeff Dale, number 37. Very costly. It would have been 4th down. Let's wind up the other games. Washington over Green Bay, Minnesota over Detroit, Buffalo over Pittsburgh by 4. First quarter scores Dallas the early lead on the Raiders. No score between the Giants and Philadelphia, and San Francisco quickly in front of St. Louis. And so what would have been 4th and maybe 18 is a first down. All alone, if he can get to it, is Mark Jackson. 52 yards. And Elway immediately capitalizes on the San Diego mistake.
And Gilbert got caught with his proverbial hand in the cookie jar that time. He was staring into the backfield. He was caught flat-footed. That's why you see Jackson so far in front of him. And Birdie's just hoping he drops the football. He can't do anything about it. But he was standing there staring into the backfield, watching John Elway and watching for his eyes. Elway now turned into the veteran quarterback, looked him off, and then went back downfield to Mark Jackson.
And John Elway has now passed the 10,000-yard mark in his very young career. This is only his 4th year in the National Football League, and it's first down, goal to go, 8-yard line as the Broncos come roaring back, capitalizing on 2 San Diego mistakes. And here's Sammy Winder, and the defense strings him out pretty well. Billy Ray Smith was there. Thomas Benson was there. And it'll be second down, goal to go.
Mark Jackson has really turned into a very, very pleasant surprise for the Broncos. I don't think they would have thought when they picked him up this past year that he would have been the deep threat that he has become. When Vance Johnson was injured early on in the season, there was Mark Jackson who came on and replaced Johnson as the deep threat for the Broncos. And he seems to be continuing that. In fact, Clint Sampson, number 84, the other wide receiver for the Broncos, has kind of been moved out because of the emergence of Jackson.
Second down, goal to go on the draw. Here's Winder, and the flag is down, as Winder will lose a yard on the play. And speaking of Mark Jackson, he now has the 4 longest receptions of the year for the receivers for the Denver Broncos. And it will be a holding call against Denver. Do you refuse it and third down, goal to go at the 10, or do you give them second down back at the 18-yard line?
If it was me, I think I would allow the play to stand and go third down.
Number 54.
I would too. Turn it down.
Holding. 10 yards, still second down.
Ooh, they're going to give him another shot at it.
Well, that's why we're sitting up here.
That's right.
That's right. But my opinion is that you don't give John Elway 2 more shots from this position.
Just give him 1 more and then make him kick the field goal. Billy is on Bishop. Is that correct? I believe that's who it was called on.
Now, the difference is if you're going to push a team out of field goal range, yes, I understand that.
Yes.
But that is not the case here.
No.
They're still only at the 18-yard line.
And it's second down, goal to go. And Elway will operate from the shotgun. And he's got pressure, and he hits Sewell. And Sewell gets to the 11-yard line. So he gains 7. It'll be third down, goal to go. And Gary Plummer makes the play.
And because of them taking the penalty, they actually gain about 3 yards. Now you have a situation where it's third and goal from the 11. Before, it would have been third and goal from about the 8-yard line.
I'm still like you, though. I don't want to give Elway that many chances.
No, I wouldn't either. He's turned into a real veteran quarterback, knows what he wants to do with the football. He's cool back there and does not get flustered inside of that green zone that we talked about before.
He's going to take a timeout, though. So Denver will take a timeout. No, that is the end of the quarter. Oh, what a quick first quarter. Chargers lead 3-0. We'll be back in a moment. Joe Collier, the defensive genius of the Denver Broncos.
Now, he's not looking through the family picture album. Those are Polaroids that are taken up in the press box of the overall defensive structure and offensive structure of the clubs. And he takes a look to find out what his defense has to do to shut down San Diego's passing offense and also their running game, but more so their passing attack, because that shows the entire defensive secondary. And there you see him talking to Tom Jackson, explaining exactly what he wants done by his defense.
Do they ever slip up and put another photo in the midst of all of those just for fun?
I don't think so.
Right. Dallas leading the Raiders. No score, Giants, Philadelphia. San Francisco in front of St. Louis. No change in the other games in progress right now. 3rd down and 6 here. San Diego leads 3-0 as we open the second quarter. And we've got a whistle and flags. In the first quarter, San Diego burned off 17 plays and 72 yards. Denver 9 plays and 69 yards. Each team had the ball only one time.
Offense, number 76. False start.
False start on
5
Ken
yards.
Lanier.
Still 3rd down.
So 3rd down goal to go. It'll go back to the 16. So Denver, there's a look at the statistics. Denver able to capitalize on a major mistake by San Diego, illegal chucking by Jeff Dale, or they would have been forced to punt. They came back with a long pass to Mark Jackson, and now maybe San Diego can have an opportunity on Denver's mistakes. They've been a little shaky right here on offense. They are not motivated like Jimmy Sublo was talking about. Elway slips away. Flag is down. End zone. It is caught, but there was a marker. 16 yards if it stands up. Mark Jackson came down with it, but a penalty flag dropped back at the 25. Normally that's offensive holding. Let's see if it is. Holding Denver. They'll bring it back.
Well, what a throw by John Elway.
Oh, yes.
Very few quarterbacks in the NFL can throw that thing.
Very few would have gotten to the place to be able to throw it with that kind of a
Number
rush.
70. Holding. 10 yards.
Dave Studdard.
Still 3rd down.
Take a look at this. You see O'Neal breathing down his back, but across his body, just a little flick of the arm. He still has enough strength to get it to the receiver in between 2 or 3 defenders.
Yes.
What a tremendous throw. That's so many times we've talked about the strength of John Elway's arm, but he also throws on the run. Regardless of the strength of his arm, every quarterback's throw on the run as well as he does. Maybe the only other one in his league in the NFL is, of course, Joe Montana, who does that probably better than anybody else has ever done it in NFL history.
3rd down goal to go. And, of course, Montana playing today after coming off the back surgery. Here's the screen, and it is incomplete. He was trying to hit Gerald Wilhite. And so the field goal team is going to come out. And Denver will go for the tie. And who would have thought at this point into the second quarter that Denver would be going for the tie?
Remember, San Diego's been a fine first-half team, but they have disintegrated in the second half of their contests. At halftime, they've had to lead 5 times this year, despite only winning 1 football game.
44-yard field goal attempt by Carlos. Kubiak, the holder. And he's got it from 44 yards away. And we are tied at 3-3. We'll be back with a kickoff.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. The more you look, the more you like Mazda value. By MCI, communications for the next 100 years. And by Coors and Coors Light, beers with a difference worth tasting.
On the Denver drive, 6 passes, 1 rush, and 4 penalties by the Denver Broncos. And we're tied at 3-3 as Carlos will be kicking off. Anderson will field it at the 2-yard line. And he's out to the 10, the 15, as it returned to the 24-yard line. So 22 yards on the return for Gary Anderson. And San Diego will move on offense for only the 2nd time in the ball game. Ken Bell made the tackle for the Denver Broncos, and we have 14 minutes and 31 seconds left in the first half. Ball game tied at 3-3. And the Chargers offense impressive on that first drive. Look at that, 5 of 7. Pretty good numbers. Dan Fouts is here. He's upstairs working with the coaches, helping call the plays. Anderson scrambles to the 30. He's got 6. It's 2nd down and 4. Mark Herman did not make the trip to Denver, and the report on Dan Fouts is, talked to him this week, and he said he's in the background with the beard.
That's right, to the far right there.
Does he look like an ominous figure
Yes,
there hovering behind them? This is what you will run next.
Hovering over Ernie Zambezi and the rest of the Charger offensive coaches up there.
And Dan believes that he can play next week against Denver, against Dallas in San Diego. 2nd down and 4. And here's Anderson. He's going to lose a couple of yards. Mike Harden made the play as somebody missed a block.
Somebody did miss a block.
Tim
It looked
Spencer.
like Tim Spencer, number 43, not getting the block. And Harden, by the way, Bronco coaching staff believe that he may be an all-pro player this year.
Yes.
He's plays the run extremely well. That's been the book on him for years. But now he does more than that. He's also playing defense very well as far as the pass is concerned. There you see he dodges number 43, Tim Spencer, gets in and makes the tackle on Gary Anderson.
Holohan. He's off to the right side. 3rd down and 6. This is a passing formation. Here comes everybody. And the quick throw, and it may be a first down to Pete Holohan. Tony Lilly with the tackle, and Broncos were blitzing 2 extra players, and it is a first down. And again, the Charger offense, much simplified, going to the first read.
Yeah, they're going to tell Tom Flake, and of course, as we said earlier on, Joe Collier's going to blitz as much as
He's 2nd down and 10 to move the ball back to the 35-yard line. Of the early games, this is the only game still remaining. All the others are finals that we've given you. Houston leading Cincinnati by 1. And of the late games, those that started the same time as this one started, Dallas continues to lead the Raiders. No score giants Philadelphia. St. Louis is on the boards, and San Francisco leads by 7 in that game. 2nd and 10. And Curtis Adams, the ball carrier. He has 4 yards to the 39, so it's going to be 3rd down and 6. Andre Townsend, defensive end for the Broncos, is the man who stopped him.
something to watch for this afternoon. He just had a motion penalty on the part of the Chargers, is how many they have, because with a different quarterback in the game, his cadence is always going to be different than the previous man. And occasionally, when you change quarterbacks, you'll get more motion penalties because players get used to that same cadence, the same rhythm. They go on their instinct instead of listening to the sound. And occasionally, with a new quarterback, you will get quite a few motion penalties.
Tom Flick has completed 7 of 9 for 50 yards. And he's throwing here on 3rd down. And it is complete. He goes to Wes Chandler. Chandler went deep, took the coverage with it, came back, caught it for 18 yards and the first down.
Yeah, and that was a big league throw by Tom Flick because he threw the ball before Wes Chandler broke. Now, Chandler, you really don't have to worry about his deep speed anymore. I mean, he's been around the league 8 or 9 years, but he's such a crafty receiver. You see what he did? He looked back to the quarterback as if the ball was going to be thrown deep downfield and then broke it back on Mike Wilson. But the play there was made by actually Tom Flick, who released the ball before Chandler broke. And that's a play that a veteran quarterback usually makes, not a youngster coming in for just his second NFL start.
43-yard line of Denver, first down. Flick play action. He throws, and the pass is complete. He goes to Gary Anderson. And the Charger offense is cranked up and going. A gain of 17 yards.
Now, Gary Anderson, the knock against the Charger offense early was that they didn't have any deep speed out on the wide flank. The only one they could put out there with great deep turnaround speed is Gary Anderson. Now, you see Mike Harden. He plays so deep off, you can't even see him in the picture. And again, Flick just read it and threw it out there. And this continues to be an amazing performance by Tom Flick.
Who is Tom Flick? Well, on Friday morning at San Diego radio station, asked defensive end Rulon Jones of the Denver Broncos that very question. He said, in all honesty, I've never heard of the man. That's a tough statement. Anderson spinning from the 26 to the 24. He saves 2 yards. And it is 2nd down and 8. The ball game is tied. San Diego 3 and Denver 3. Just over 9 minutes left to go in the first half. A very fast-moving ball game. San Diego scored first. Opening drive, moved to field goal range. Panerski hit from 25 yards out. And then Denver took the kickoff. And they took a long drive. In fact, each team had the ball only 1 time in the first quarter. And Denver's score came on a 44-yard field goal by Rich Carlos right at the beginning of the second period. We're tied at 3-3. Second down and 8. Chandler showing motion. The reverse. Anderson slides back inside. He's going to lose some yardage. Loss of 3. And it's third down and 11 as Tom Jackson makes the play for Denver.
Yeah, the defense of the Broncos just sniffed that out. And actually, it was probably a very intelligent play on the part of Gary Anderson. Now, was he going to flip the ball back to Tom Flick, who's standing there? No, probably not. It was a reverse all the way. But give credit to Tom Jackson, the old veteran on the corner, the oldest NFL linebacker. He wasn't fooled at all by the play.
He's 35. Third down conversions. Chargers have converted 6 of 7. 35 is not that high. It is for a linebacker.
I didn't say a word, Charlie.
No, but you looked at me. Here's Flick. First sack of the ball game for the Denver Broncos. Rulon Jones got it. And as you know, Denver's had 5 sacks for 6 straight games, and then that streak was broken last week. They only had 4 against the Raiders. They have their first one here. And Benerska is in.
And Rulon Jones coming in now. We don't know what the other players did, but he now has 12.5 sacks, leading the AFC. That also gives him 12.5, which is the highest amount he's ever had in his NFL career.
48-yard field goal attempt. And he's got it. Ralph Benerska from 48 yards out, and San Diego leads again, 6-3.
We're MCI.
Jimmy Cefalo. In all honesty, by now, everyone thought, and include us in it, San Diego would be out of the ballgame.
Well, I think a lot of people did think that, but it goes back to Dan Reeves, as we mentioned at the beginning, try to motivate a team. First of all, they were coming off a very big win last week against the Raiders in the Coliseum, and a good NFL coach will never allow a team to get too high when they win a game or too low when they lose one. And that was Dan Reeves trying to pound away at them all week long, and I got to tell you, they better believe it because they're in a dogfight now.
Oh, yes. And Ralph Boshinko just sailing the ball. We, of course, are mile high here in Denver. And the ball will be brought out to the 20-yard line. Time of possession thus far today, San Diego almost 3-1. 60 minutes and change plus 5 minutes and change. And last time these two teams met, Denver had possession of the ball more than 2-1. So we've seen that kind of a turnaround also. And Denver has the ball at their own 20-yard line, first down. Showing motion, and Elway to throw. Lee Williams gets him, and that is the second sack for San Diego. Leslie O'Neal was also there.
And he got nearly back to the line of scrimmage. Say what you will about the San Diego defense, but as far as getting to the quarterback, they ain't too bad. 31 sacks this year coming into the game. That's 5th in the NFL. And for a club that's 1-8, that's pretty darn good pressure on a quarterback. And Lee Williams, 7.5 sacks coming in with the 4th in the AFC, is a strong portion of that very strong front line of the Chargers.
Second and 11. Elway to throw. And the pass is incomplete. They're going to rule it incomplete. Sammy Winder did not have possession. The official that was behind it was going for the fumble recovery, but the umpire who looked right back in knew that he did not have possession, and it's incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Well, let's take a look and see. Elway again with the strong arm. Now it looked like it's very difficult to call from this angle, and you have to go with the official on the field, I believe. But it seemed the ball popped out before he had complete possession.
I had no problem with that call.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure. You know, that's the replay and all that kind of stuff.
Elway has completed only 3 of 8, 68 yards. He had that one long one of 53 yards to Jackson. 3rd down and 11.
All right, the crowd is going to want interference on that call, but there is a problem with interference. There isn't any, because Billy Ray Smith, number 54, was in front of the ball. He tipped it. Once the ball is tipped, you can knock whatever you want out of the wide receiver, and that's exactly what happened on that play to Vance Johnson. Now watch 54 down below. When the ball is thrown, he comes in, he touches the ball right there. It's all over. Hit him. He can't. There you go. Smack him. It's all over. And that's exactly what happened. Good call by the official, and no interference at all.
Now Chris Norman will be kicking. He's not very good. 35.8 yards. And San Diego, that was last week, against the Raiders. San Diego plans to put pressure on him just as the Raiders did, and they send almost everybody. Oh, he gets a good one here. Hangs this one up. Anderson will call for the fair catch and take it back at the 28-yard line. 52 yards for Chris Norman. That is his best showing this year. Way to go, Chris. We'll be back.
Dear McDonald's, my mother makes a hamburger.
Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cephalo, and a look at the turf here at Mile High Stadium.
Yeah, it looks like it's tearing up a little bit. They've had some problems here. When it gets too cold here in the Denver area, this field freezes about an inch below the surface, and when the players run on it with maybe a little bit longer cleat than they would like to use, the turf tears away. So by the end of this contest, as it gets colder, we're going to see more and more turf being torn apart, probably more receivers and running backs slipping down.
First down, San Diego, the ball at their own 28-yard line. Chargers lead 6-3, just under 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. And here's Curtis Adams.
You know, the biggest problem with allowing a big underdog to come in and take a lead early is that you make them believe. See, maybe they don't really believe they could win, but they come in and they take a 6-3 lead. Maybe we can win. They start to believe, and that's the biggest problem the Broncos have right now. They gave the Chargers a chance.
You saw the final. The Raiders in Dallas now tied. Giants the early lead on Philadelphia. San Francisco continues to lead St. Louis. Second down and 4. Here the Chargers leading Denver 6-3. And they give us to Anderson, the second back. He's got the first down. Outside the 45 to the 46-yard line. 12 yards on the play and a first down. First man to get through him was Colorito.
Yeah, Gary Anderson just does just about everything. Take a look at it. Watch him set up this block by Dennis McKnight. Now, he's probably dead to rights here, but he sets up this. There you see McKnight with a wonderful block because Anderson dipped to the outside, then back to the inside. He's got that very slippery top of a form. As we look at an injured player, looks like Foley on the ground for the Broncos.
And Steve Foley now being worked on the sidelines.
Injured on the previous play. Let's take a look at it. There he is, number 43. Now watch it. Tony Colorito comes over and rolls into his leg. And it seems they are working on the lower part, an ankle and a knee for Steve Foley. But Tony Colorito trying to make an aggressive play and diving after Gary Anderson, inadvertently rolled up on Steve Foley's leg.
First down. They call it the 45-yard line. Little play action fake. Kellen Winslow has it and is out of bounds at the 49-yard line of Denver. So he picks up 6. It'll be second down and 4. Ken Woodard had the coverage. He, of course, one of the linebackers that Winslow was talking about during the week.
And how many times have you watched Kellen Winslow make this type of a catch? Watch it. One-handed. The big paw goes out and the little ball comes in. Knocks it down. You know what a wide receiver coach would tell him? Catch it the first time. But this is a great catch by anybody. He knocks it down with one arm because it's a little bit too far away and grabs it with the second. And
remember the Kansas City game at Kansas City when Winslow kind of, for the first time this year, came back into his own? Well, already in this game, 5 catches for 42 yards. And here's Anderson, and he just slides and glides around that right side and picks up 3 to the 46. It's going to be third down. A little over a yard to go for the first down as Mecklenburg makes the tackle.
All right, if you're going to try to attack the Denver Bronco defense, when you look at their statistics, they're 3rd defensively against the rush in the NFL and 17th against the pass. But Tom Flick, 9 of 11 a couple of minutes ago. I know he's had a couple of more completions. We'll get those figures in a second. But they're tearing it up both ways. They're actually running against the Bronco defense and throwing the ball very well as well.
Now, Adams and Spencer are both in. This is the short yardage power offense. Bronco defense will turn them away. Curtis Adams gets the call. He is stopped at the 45. And it's going to be fourth down and about half a yard.
All right, you're 1-8. Do you go for it? No, I guess not.
Well, you're leading 6-3.
Yeah, you're 6-3.
Now you play like you're a contender.
Hey, I'm just asking the question. I agree with you.
I'm just answering, all right?
You're absolutely
Would you like
right.
a different answer?
No. I like that answer. That was the one I was looking for.
Okay.
Very good.
Now, Vance Johnson will be the kick returner. Normally, it's Gerald Wilhite. But Johnson has that great speed. This is the first punt for Morzinko. May have a delay of game, 30-second violation. Chargers, this is fine by them.
Yeah, that's probably something they wanted.
Because you're kicking here at altitude, and he has a great leg, you know, so this way he doesn't want to take it to the end zone. They want to force the return.
Delay, offense, declined, and still be 4th down.
Okay, Denver says that you can play that game, so can we will decline it.
And the Broncos aren't completely convinced they're going to punt the ball away. They've got their prevent defense in there as far as punt returns are concerned. They're all to the line of scrimmage. All have a receiver in mind just in case the Chargers try to trick play and throw the football out of this formation.
Could turn out pretty good. Nope. Rolls into the end zone for the automatic touchback. And we'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. 46 yards on the kick. We've got a timeout. The Chargers have the lead 6-3. Back in a moment. Of the other games in progress, the Raiders in Dallas are tied at 3-3. Giants still leading Philadelphia 7-0. And St. Louis still trails San Francisco now by 10. It's 13-3. And here in Denver, it is San Diego 6, the Denver Broncos 3. And we have 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in a very fast-moving first half. This is only Denver's 3rd possession, and all 3 possessions have started at their own 20-yard line. John Elway has completed 3 of 9 for 68 yards. Inauspicious start for Elway. Johnson showing motion. And Sammy Winder, the ball carrier. Gerald Wilhite has a contusion. They do not know if he will return or not. And Foley has gone in for x-rays, and look at time of possession is now 3-1 for the Chargers.
Yeah, and a week ago the Broncos also lost that war as far as time of possession was concerned with the Raiders. And it really doesn't mean very much, to tell you the truth. There's only 3 points separating the two clubs, despite the fact that it is 3-1 time of possession in favor of San Diego.
And if you remember in San Diego that the Chargers against Denver only had the ball 19 minutes in that entire ball game. 2nd and 11. Vance Johnson. 21-yard line is going to be 3rd down and 9. Billy Ray Smith with the tackle. And we're seeing something, I believe, we talked about at the beginning of the telecast. And and the Broncos talked about it all week long. It is an uninspired Denver ball club. They just were not up mentally nor emotionally for the Chargers.
Well, that's the only answer to it. I mean, when you look at the records and look at the personnel, the Broncos should not be in this type of situation this far into the 2nd quarter and down by 3 points. And it goes back to motivation. Say what you like about it. Professional football players with a 16-game schedule and 4 preseason and 4 postseason. If you go to the Super Bowl as a wild card club, still have to get them fired up for every single game.
3rd down and 9. Elway steps forward, and now he throws. Could be intercepted, and it is incomplete. He had 2 receivers in the same neighborhood, 3 defenders, and it will be 4th down, and that means that Chris Norman will be kicking. Chris Norman on his first punt, he boomed one, 52 yards, and Gary Anderson is the return man. But we expect the Chargers to try and put pressure on the punter, just as the Raiders did last week. It's another good one. Oh, he is really kicking well today. Bobbled and picked up at the 23, out to the 30. A nice move. He fumbles it. Denver has it. Big turnover. 56 yards on the kick. And it is recovered by Darren Como.
And one of the problems as a punt returner in this league is that when you have 10 people in the line of scrimmage trying to block a punt, you got to realize that you're the only one out there in the white jersey.
And Como strips it.
He does strip it away, and big turnover. That's what San Diego talked about all this week. They wanted to stay away from the big turnover. They've done it offensively. But commit the
holding on the receiving team, number 40. It's declined. It's first down.
It's a bad overall situation. Not only did Gary Anderson fumble the ball, but he also got caught holding somebody in the meantime.
We've got timeout. We'll be back in a moment. Denver has the break. First turnover, and Darren Como made it all happen.
Yeah, he's reaching back and trying to get just a piece of Gary Anderson. He gets lucky and slaps the ball out as well. Looky what happened here. And then to add insult to injury, they call Gary Anderson for a hold. I guess after the ball was popped out, he was trying to reach back and stop somebody from recovering his fumble.
And Denver has the ball at the San Diego 28-yard line. We've got a minute 52 left to go. So the last time out was a 2-minute warning. It is high, and it is intercepted at the 11-yard line by San Diego. Jeff Dale has the ball. He's out to the 30. He's out to the 40. He eludes a tackler. He returns to the 50-yard line. 40 yards on the return. Dave Stutter made the tackle.
And that was just an overthrow on the part of John Elway. It's a zone defense back here. Take a look at everybody on the right side of the screen. They're just dropping to a specific area and reading the quarterback's eyes. This was just on John Elway because he overthrows the receiver in the middle of the field. And Jeff Dale makes a nice play going down, making sure of the interception first. But then that's not enough. Everybody turns into offensive blockers. Look at everybody. Watch number 82, Jackson. Watch how fast he is. He's got to slow up so he can make an attempt. He does have that great speed. But a nice play by Jeff Dale, recovering the turnover for the Chargers.
And here is Anderson, the line of scrimmage, the 49-yard line of Denver. And Anderson goes out of bounds at about the 45. It'll be second down and 6. And now San Diego can play a short field. Minute and a half, time remaining in the first half. And they need only about 20 yards for a field goal attempt. And they want to run as much time off the clock as possible. San Diego leading 6-3. Chargers with 3 timeouts remaining. And Denver has only 2. Drops it off to Anderson. Anderson slips a tackle, has the first down, and almost breaks it to the inside the 30. He stopped at the 31, almost broke it for a touchdown. Oh, he was ever so close from getting away. And he has 14 yards.
He's got a lot more than 14 yards. He's got that vinegar going for him today. Watch this. Nice play by Flick because he looks downfield. This is actually something called an option screen. They set the screen up in the flat. If they have it, they go to it. If not, he has the option of throwing it downfield. But this is all Gary Anderson. He follows his blockers, but then slips away and gets 14 more yards than he probably should have.
In the other games in progress, Dallas leading the Raiders now 10-3. Giants still 7-0 over the Eagles. San Francisco with another touchdowns, 20-3 San Francisco. Joe Montana is playing. 2 touchdown passes to Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I'm surprised too.
Coming off of back surgery.
Yeah, he's such a tough competitor. I played with Joe Montana in a high school all-star game called the Big 33 game.
Oh, yes.
Pennsylvania playing Ohio. And Joe Montana was the 3rd-string quarterback and punted for our team. He was not the starter.
You're kidding.
No, we had some talent, I guess, on that team.
Look at these numbers on Tom Flick. Now, that looks like the numbers of a starting quarterback and not the numbers of a number 3 quarterback.
And certainly the numbers of a very confident quarterback, and he's turned into that this afternoon.
Gary Anderson, 3 receptions, 35 yards, 12 rushes for 32. He has 67 yards total offense for San Diego. Flick has a little pressure, throws its coverage, and it is intercepted by Steve Wilson. And Denver has the ball. They had double coverage on Wes Chandler.
And the first mistake of the afternoon by Mr. Flick. He threw it, as you said, Charlie, directly into double coverage. Take a look at it down to your left. The 2 safeties up top of your screen. They have 50% of the field by themselves. Now, we mentioned that Flick had been staring at his receivers. He does there. That allows Lilly to come over and Wilson to come underneath for the interception. That all on Flick by staring at his wide receiver.
So Denver has the ball on their own 8-yard line, first down. And we have a minute and 9 seconds left to go. in the first half. San Diego leads it 6-3. Gene Lang and Sammy Winder are in the backfield, and Winder's the ball carrier. Again, Gerald Wilhite with a contusion. Denver's just going to run out the ball here in the first half. And Steve Foley with a knee injury. He went in for the x-ray. We have no report on him. And the Broncos just taking the countdown.
Well, the crowd here booing the decision to run with the football, but they are backed up. They're inside their own 10-yard line. They have not been performing very well, and I think they want to go in at halftime, regroup down 6-3, and not throw the big interception here and maybe go in a little bit more down than possible.
And Sammy Winder, who is the number 3 rusher in the AFC, has been held to 0 yards in the first half. 3 carries and a total of 0 yards. Dennis Mnuchin, our statistician, is on top of all these numbers that show the surprising number, and that is San Diego 6 and Denver 3, as Dan Reeves, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, and what a great job he has done here. He'll just take the countdown and head for the locker room for halftime.
And the first words out of his mouth.
I told you so.
That's right.
We should have an exciting second half, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
And we welcome those of you watching the Chargers-Broncos game to our halftime show. Bob Costas along with Ahmad Rashad and Paul McGuire. Let's check scores elsewhere. Dallas just got a 13-yard scoring run from Tony Dorsett, who has passed O.J. Simpson and moved into 5th place on the all-time rushing list today. The Cowboys lead at home over the Raiders 10-3 just before halftime. In the game you're watching, San Diego, on a pair of Rolf Bernerschke field goals, leads the Broncos, who are 8-1, while the Chargers are 1-8. The Broncos are favored by 2 touchdowns, and at the half at Mile High, it's 6-3 San Diego. The Giants get an 18-yard touchdown run from Joe Morris, who continues to perform brilliantly. They lead at Philadelphia late in the second quarter, 7-0. The Giants must win to stay tied with the Redskins at 8-2 atop the NFC East. San Francisco has Joe Montana back at quarterback much sooner than anyone expected. He has thrown 2 first-half touchdown passes to Jerry Rice, one for 45, the other for 41, and they lead the Cardinals 20-3. Cliff Stout starting at quarterback for St. Louis in place of Neil Lomax, who has been ineffective in recent weeks. The Jets won 28-14 today at Atlanta. The Jets take their record to 9-1. Ken O'Brien had a spectacular day, completed 17 in a row in one stretch, threw 3 second-quarter touchdown passes, 2 to Wesley Walker, and this one to Al Toon, the NFL's leading receiver, good for 59 yards, 28-14. The Jets win it. Ahmad, you and I have talked about Ken O'Brien and his development over the last year and a half, and that pair of receivers, Al Toon and Wesley Walker, all season, and they just keep getting better.
That's the neat thing that impressed me, Bobby, is each week they seem to get better and better, and they just seem to be maturing. And that's what it takes to go all the way in this business. But the player of the game, Ken O'Brien, he's one of my favorite guys in the National Football League, and it's really neat that his idol has always been Joe Namath. And if he keeps playing the way he's been playing, he could do what Joe Namath did for the Jets, and that is take him to the Super Bowl.
You think they're a match for Denver?
Well, they played him earlier this year, and the Jets gave them all they could handle. Right now, I'd say that the Jets probably the hottest team in the league.
All right, at the Hoosier Dome, at one point, the Colts led 14-3, but New England rallied and won 30-21, and the Colts are now 0-10. Chicago wins at Tampa Bay 23-3. Mike Tomczak at quarterback today for the Bears ran 1 yard for an early touchdown, and then off a play-action fake, hurled this 37-yarder to Willie Gault for another TD, and the Bears cruised from there, winning 23-3. Walter Payton had 126 yards rushing in the game for the Bears, and Doug Flutie made a brief appearance late in the fourth quarter, threw one pass. It fell incomplete.
At Mile High Stadium, and I think that almost everybody in the stands is stunned with the first half. It's exactly what you talked about, and that is motivation, and the Broncos simply were not motivated.
They simply great straight ahead, but don't have that great lateral movement.
Stadium, and I think that almost everybody in the stands is stunned with the first half. It's exactly what you talked about, and that is motivation, and the Broncos simply were not motivated.
They simply seem to be flat here this afternoon. Don Shula used to always tell his Miami Dolphin teams, if you're flat, it's my fault. But let's not blame this on Dan Reeves. I mean, all week long, all we kept reading in the press is that he had to impress upon them the fact that they had to get back together and realize that just because the Chargers are 1-8 doesn't guarantee a win this afternoon. And you can bet, as we said going to halftime, he fired them up at halftime by saying, you're in a real fight now, so you'd better start believing what I told you all week long.
Now, and also, let's give some credit to Al Saunders and the San Diego Chargers, because they played an excellent first half, and they did everything that they had to do.
Yeah, Kellen Winslow has 5 catches on the afternoon already. He's really, as you mentioned before, starting to come into his own. But Tom Flick is the big shock here this afternoon. 11 of 14, and a week ago he only completed 4 of 17 passes. A pleasant surprise for Al Saunders and the San Diego Chargers.
San Diego will be kicking off, and so that means that John Elway and the Denver Broncos will have their first opportunity on offense in the second half. And if you will recall, or if you were with us at the beginning of the ball game, then San Diego took the opening drive, and they had the football for 9 minutes and 23 seconds. And here are the statistics. And time of possession comes into play here because you're keeping John Elway off of the field, and you're not giving him near as many opportunities as if the time of possession, say, was reversed.
Yeah, in this situation, and
it does apply.
Yes, it does apply.
You're not a big fan of time of possession. I know
because it usually doesn't have anything to do with who wins a football game. But anytime you can keep John Elway off the field, it means something.
And here comes Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, Gene Lang with a flag down on the play. Flag dropped back at the 21-yard line, Lang on the return out to the 22-yard line. And Elway standing on the sideline talking to Dan Reeves. A penalty against the Denver Broncos for an illegal block in the back.
On the run back, number 59. Illegal hands above the waist in the back.
On
10
Darren
yards.
Como, and he is the man
First
that
down.
you recall that recovered the fumble, made the fumble happen, and then recovered it. So Denver will start back at their own 11-yard line.
Let's take a look at Donald Brown, number 32. He was a starting cornerback, but today moved over. Let's take a look and see if he gets in on this, and of course he does. A little push in the back. Is that what the call is? No, not on him. But he does get over and take Lang down. A nice play by 32, Donald Brown.
All right, Denver trailing 6-3 as we start the second half. And Denver starts from their own 11-yard line with Sammy Winder out to the 17, maybe the 18-yard line. Dallas continues to lead the Raiders by 7, 10-3. At halftime, the Giants now lead Philadelphia 10-0. And San Francisco leading St. Louis 20-10. Those are the 3 games that are running concurrent with this game. Joe Montana is playing for the 49ers and has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Second down and 4. Shows a little motion, and Winder gets the call, and he comes to the 26-yard line. He has 9, and the first down. Vince C. Glenn makes the tackle, and so you can see him. Jeff Dale was also there for the Chargers. You can see the results of the halftime discussion in the locker room of the Denver Broncos. Like you said, it is a fight. We got to come out and start playing football.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of fire going on now with the Broncos. They've also had some very terrible field position thus far in the game. They started their own 23 times. One time they were in charge of territory, but the other times they've simply not had good field position to work with.
Gene Lang gets the call. And we'll have no gain on the play. Second down and 10. Thomas Benson, inside linebacker for the Chargers, is the man who brought him down. Charger defense has played well.
Yes, they have. But last week, let's talk about the Chargers for a second, because first half-wise, they've really played well this season. It's the second half they've had problems. They've been outscored 157-68 in the second half. So this is familiar territory for the Chargers.
Steve Foley, sprained left ankle, will not return for Denver. Kind of a good news, bad news. It is not any worse. Elway, and he is sacked. Earl Wilson got him.
Tackled by Earl Wilson, number 93.
That is the second official sack for the Chargers. They had a second sack in the first half, but a penalty nullified that. A loss of 11.
Leslie O'Neal, number 91, the rookie. He may be the best defensive rookie in the NFL right now. There you see him, number 91, breaking in, but it's Earl Wilson who actually puts Elway on his back. It seems that the Chargers are going to a 4-man line now, changing up a little bit. 3 linebackers, 4-man line for San Diego.
Third down and 22, Elway from the shotgun. This is dropped off to Wilhite, trying to slip out of the backfield, and he comes up way short of the first down. Wilhite missed a lot of action in the first half with a contusion, and he comes up limping here. And Billy Ray Smith made the tackle. It will be 4th down. And that means that Chris Norman will be kicking. Now, against Los Angeles in the Coliseum last week, he punted 6 times and averaged only 35 yards and a little change. Now, here he has punted twice for 52 yards, once for 56 yards. I think the coaches all left him alone this week.
Well, they had especially come in to talk to him, known as Dr. Punt, a man by the name of Ray Pelfrey, who was working with him, but that didn't work, so they left him on his own.
Gary Anderson fields it at the 35-yard line and slips in that turf that we talked about and still manages to pick up 9 yards on the return. A 48-yard kick, though, by Chris Norman. We've got a timeout. Back in a moment. This is Charlie Jones, Jimmy Cefalo. The score, the San Diego Chargers 6, the Denver Broncos 3. And we have 11 minutes and 41 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And San Diego has the ball for the first time in the 2nd half at their own 45-yard line. So the Chargers start with good field position, and Tom Flick has been having an outstanding game. He's in his 3rd year in the NFL, signed as a free agent. This is the 4th ball club that he's been with. And he goes to Pete Holohan, and Pete Holohan is run out of bounds by Tom Jackson. And for Tom Flick, he now has completed 12 of 15 for 106 yards, and he suffered the 1 interception near the end of the 1st half.
One of the problems the Broncos have is that they really didn't know what to prepare for this afternoon. The Chargers, historically, of course, they're going to throw the football much more often than rush it. And a week ago, they only put it up 17 times and ran it 50 times against Kansas City.
2nd down and 9. And here's Curtis Adams. And Adams has a couple of yards to the 48, so it's going to be 3rd down and 7. And now the Denver defensive package can pretty well read what San Diego is going to do, and that is throw the ball, and they make their substitution changes, situation substitution.
In all probability. But again, they threw all of their self-scouting out the door last week when they started running on 3rd and long situations because they weren't sure how Tom Flick would react to that kind of pressure. Let's see now when he's completing a lot of his passes, whether they go back to their normal passing attack on 3rd and long.
Flick throws, and it is incomplete. He was going to Charlie Joyner, and he just couldn't quite get there. And it'll be 4th down and 7. But again, you will notice that Flick is reading the first receiver, his primary receiver, and he's not trying to read or look off anybody else. If there's any kind of an opening, he's going right to it.
Right, it's been a lot of short passing type throws, nothing very deep. They want to stay away from that, want him to try to nickel and dime the Bronco defense if he can.
And a Charger player is injured. Clock is stopped now with 10 minutes and 50 seconds. That is the time remaining here in the 3rd quarter. San Diego led at the end of the 1st quarter 3-0, and then of course 6-3 at halftime, which is the current score. Ralph Benershka at that field goes of 25 and 48 yards. Rich Carlos of 44 yards. It is Sam Clappin who is the injured player. Offensive guard. And one of the steadying factors in that offensive line for San Diego. That offensive line has played well. They've kept the Bronco defense, a very tough defense, away from Tom Flick.
Yeah, they certainly have. The Bronco defense getting to the passer has been probably better than any team in the NFL this season. They've had 4 or more sacks in their last 7 games. In fact, they sacked the Chargers 5 times the first time they played against them. So the Chargers have really regrouped and played very well in the offensive line end. We'll see how the injury of the Sam Claffin is, if he's not able to return, how that affects their protection for Tom Flick.
The Broncos with 1 sack in this ball game. Let's go back to the early games. These are finals, of course. The Jets winning over Atlanta and winning big. New England over Indianapolis, and Chicago winning. The Rams were upset by New Orleans 6-0. Kansas City over Seattle. Kansas City plays here. Your team plays here? Well, it does. Kansas City is here against Denver. Next week, Houston over Cincinnati. There's another upset.
So they break an 8-game losing streak.
Yes. Washington wins, Minnesota wins, and Buffalo wins. And Mojiko is punting. Here comes the blitz, and he almost got the block. Oh, how did he miss it? Vance Johnson was back. Mark Jackson was coming across. It ends up a 37-yard kick. I do not see how he missed it.
It looked like it went right under the arm of Jackson. It's either Jackson or Dennis Smith. Either one. Look at this, right under his arm. It is Jackson. He just missed it.
Who has the easy to load, easy to shoot,
Golden Bear Jack Nicklaus and flamboyant Chi-Chi Rodriguez take on one of the world's toughest courses. The Isuzu Kapalua International makes it a November to remember on NBC.
And be sure to join Vince Scully on the beautiful island of Maui for the golf and a quarterback comparison. Elway 5 of 13 and Flick 12 of 16. 106 yards to 74, an interception on each side. No touchdown. That's an interesting graphic.
It is. The Broncos have not thrown the ball very much today, but they only threw the ball 12 times against the Raiders last week.
And remember, 5 of 13 for Elway, 74 yards, and one of those was for 53 yards.
That's right. The big play to Mark Jackson.
So the Charger defense has shut down the quarterback of the Broncos. On the reverse, here's Sewell. He's out to the 20. Makes a nice move and brought down around the 29-yard line by Gilbert, and he picks up 14 and the first down. And the Broncos need some kind of a spark to get their offense going.
It probably had a lot to do why they called this play, a little bit of the misdirection to get a spark going. Watch the block by number 64, Billy Bryan, coming around. He takes Leslie O'Neal right down, allowing Sewell to get around the corner. Tries to put the move on, who is that? That's Gilbert, number 22, but unable to get past him.
14 yards to the 29, first down. Play action fake. It is tipped and it is incomplete. Second down and 10. Lee Williams, I believe, got a hand on the play.
And Elway was going downfield for Steve Sewell once again, who was wide open going across the Chargers secondary, but tipped at the line of scrimmage, as you said, Charlie, and unable to get the ball down. Let's take a look at that tip from ground action, from ground your angle here. Oh, yeah, right in the middle. It sends a duck downfield, and Sewell just beyond the linebacking crew. They're unable to come up with it.
Lee Williams, number 99, 6'5 and a half, 263 pounds, from Bethune-Cookman. A force in the defense of the Chargers. Second and 10, Elway to throw. Four-man rush. As time fires, and all alone and wide open is Clarence Kay, the tight end. 20 yards to the Denver 49 and a first down.
Elway had all kinds of time to set up and throw the ball that time. Actually, pretty good coverage by the Chargers secondary, but anytime you give a receiver this much time, he's going to get wide open. Clay known for his blocking ability much more than his throwing. But let's take a look and see how Elway sets in the pocket. Billy Bryant, number 64, right in the middle. And that's Sammy Winder helping out for a while. And much more time than usual for a quarterback to get the ball off, allowing Clay more than enough time to slip past the secondary and make the catch.
We're going to mark the play dead at the 48-yard line. First down for Denver. But the Chargers had the coverage, and now he scrambles and throws it away. Double coverage downfield as Denver with the flea flicker sit only one player deep. And the Chargers picked it up.
He was looking for Vance Johnson downfield, who was going to the opposite corner, but this play seemed to set up a little bit too quickly. You see, he turns around immediately and throws it back and really does not give enough time for the secondary people to react up to a running play. And that's the reason that one didn't work. It was Sammy Winder who just took one step and drilled it right back to John Elway.
Elway now 6 of 16 for 93 yards and 1 interception. And it's second 10. Clarence Kay in motion, and he stays back as a blocker. And this pass is pulled out. A great reception by Orson Mobley. That is only his second reception of the season for 15 yards. The rookie taken in the 6th round of the draft from Salem College. And John L. Sullivan in the Chargers secondary made the tackle.
And he may have been known what is called a hot receiver on the play. A blitz coming from the right side. He breaks his pattern off. That's what it means. He changes his pattern completely. It was man-to-man downfield. Just a 3-step pattern coming across the middle. Elway reads it along with Mobley, and they throw it and get the completion.
And he throws the rope of about 20 yards. He's 5 yards behind the line of
scrimmage. When you're a hot receiver, you really are with John Elway.
First down to San Diego 37. Sewell in motion. Hand off inside to Sewell. And he'll be wrapped up at the 35-yard line. A pickup of 2 a play. Going to be 2nd and 8 as Chuck Ian makes the tackle. And Sewell is shaken up on the play, a little slow to get up. He may just have fallen on the ball, and that'll knock the wind out of you immediately. So he will come out, and Gene Lang comes in. It's 2nd down and 8. The time, 7:47 and flying. 3rd quarter. Elway with a blitz coming by San Diego. Goes underneath the coverage to Johnson. The speedster goes to the 21-yard line where Kenny Taylor brings him down after a gain of 14. First down, Denver, and they have looked impressive on this drive.
Mark Jackson was not the primary receiver on that play. In fact, he's the backside receiver. Watch him just kind of try to get lost in the middle of the coverage here for the Chargers. Like he's kind of pretending, well, I'm not part of this play. Oh, yes, I am. He finds a soft spot in the zone defense, grabs it, and Vance Johnson gets downfield. Excuse me, I said Mark Jackson. Of course, that's the speedster, Vance Johnson, with showing his great quickness. Almost got around the corner and slipped through to the end zone.
And a first down for Denver. The tight end in motion, and here is Winder. The defense brings him out, and he goes out of bounds. As Sammy wanted to cut downfield, but there simply wasn't any room as Benson takes him out, and Elway laying out a block on the way. And he goes out of the 22, so he ends up losing a yard. It's going to be 2nd down and 11. Do quarterbacks ever complain on the plays that they have to go out and block on?
No, because they never block. I mean, very rarely do they just fall down at somebody's feet and say, please trip over me.
What do they say in the films on Monday or Tuesday when you look at them?
Everybody howls and laughs. I mean, nobody will ever complain to the quarterback that throw his body out to commit a block. He's too valuable, especially somebody like John Elway.
Winder, 7 carries. He's rushed for only 15 yards. Inside handoff with Sewell, the blocker, and the ball carrier is Wilhite. And just a couple of yards to the 20, so it's going to be 3rd down and 9, and Billy Ray Smith made the tackle at the half. Dallas leading the Raiders. Giants now pulling away from Philadelphia 17-0 in the 3rd. San Francisco continues to lead St. Louis. And of course here at Mile High Stadium with 6:14 left to go in the 3rd quarter, Denver has the ball. They threaten, but they trail 6-3. Rolf Benirschke with 2 field goals of 25 and 48 yards, and Rich Carlos of one field goal from 44 yards away. Elway from the shotgun. Quarterback block, but a flag is down, and the ball is fumbled. Elway came down at the 10. The Chargers recover the fumble. If it was not blown dead, it was not. The Chargers say they have it. The flag will be holding, I am sure, against Denver. It is. It will be refused, and San Diego will come up with the football.
Offense on the center, decline, first down.
And the Chargers with the turnover. We believe it was Chuck Ian, number 78, who recovers the fumble.
And Billy Bryant, 64, called with the hole. But again, Elway loves to roam the football. No question about it. It popped out before he hit the ground. And it's first down for San Diego.
Thomas Benson caused the fumble. The Denver Broncos, 2 turnovers, and both of them John Elway's fault.
Right, going in close, too. 2nd quarter, he threw an interception that Jeff Dale brought back, ending a scoring opportunity. And just now, with the quarterback draw, he fumbles at about the 9-yard line, throwing away 2 perfect opportunities for the Broncos to get on the scoreboard.
And so San Diego, leading in the ballgame 6-3, they have the ball at their own 9-yard line. Anderson dropped for a loss. Rulon Jones, number 75, was there. They'll mark it at the 7. It's going to be 2nd down and 12. Here's another look.
Rulon Jones has been bothered by a sore knee, but there he just runs over Dennis McKnight and getting to Gary Anderson. Looks like his left knee is perfectly fine.
And if Denver is going to pull this one out, their defense is going to have to do it, just like they did against the Raiders. Dennis Smith with the tackle. Gain of 2. It'll be 3rd down and 10 at the San Diego 9-yard line.
And this crowd here at Mile High now is starting to get into it. The Chargers are coming out of the closed end of the stadium. It must be very, very difficult for Flick to get his numbers called out to his wide receivers.
Flick originally was a number 4 draft choice of the Redskins back in 1981. Then he saw a little time with New England and with Cleveland. 6'3", 191 pounds. Played his collegiate ball for the Huskies, University of Washington. And Flick, you can't hear him. Now that is something that a veteran quarterback would not do. He now has officially let the crowd in at the closed end of the field. They all know it. Now wait till he comes out the next time.
Yeah, they've succeeded with it.
Yes.
And as I said, the close end of the stadium, this is a very, very loud stadium, more than 75,000 people. And they love to stamp their feet, yell and scream, but the orange crowd continues to yell and scream. And of course, coming up to the line of scrimmage this time, Flick is not going to get any more of an opportunity than they had the last time around.
This is the 125th consecutive home sellout, first in the AFC, second in the entire NFL. To Washington, they have had 154 consecutive sellouts there. And the 30-second clock is marked, and now the officials are going to stop it again. He's not running the 30-second clock. Put a clock on this and see how long this delay is going to run. Because Flick is going to step away. We've already been delayed for just about a minute. About a minute and a half. So we'll keep a running time on this. My prediction, it'll run just over 4 minutes before it all settles in, and we'll get this 3rd down play off.
Well, we've got our statistician is in the pool at 6 minutes, and our stage manager's in the pool with the bucket 3.5. I'm holding the money. Just in case you're questioning, I'm holding the money.
The clock is stopped with 4 minutes in game time, 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. And now the Broncos are going to ask the crowd to quiet down because they don't want to stand around in this cool afternoon. They like to get this next play out themselves. And they're stepping away. Kellen Winslow says, I can't hear him call signals, and steps back. And again, the referee, Fred So, is not running the 30-second clock in this instance. And we're now just about 2.5 minutes into this time loss. That, of course, is an unofficial time. I like that look on your face.
I'm running the pool, so let me keep the time because I'm holding the money. So. You see the worried look on Tom Flick's face. He wants to get this thing going as well. Dangerous position, and the crowd knows it. You know, NFL crowds really know the game of football. Inside the 10-yard line, close into the stadium, a new quarterback. They know they can make things tough for him, and they have this for him.
3rd down and 10. The delay.
Here's the $3.
Mecklenburg and Rulon Jones make the tackle, and now San Diego will be kicking.
And there's a name we haven't called very often this afternoon.
Right.
Carl Mecklenburg has really been kept at bay by the San Diego Chargers.
And Vance Johnson, the speedster, is at the Denver 42, set for the return. Moshiko will be kicking. And Denver should have good field position. They'll set up a return. Pretty good kick. Take it at the 37, to the 45, to the 50, and returns to the San Diego 44-yard line. A 52-yard kick by Moshiko, but he overkicked the coverage. 20 yards on the return by Vance Johnson, and we'll be back. That's a promise. Next Sunday, we have an exciting NFL doubleheader for you. Seattle, they're now struggling at Cincinnati. Miami at Buffalo, Houston, Pittsburgh. That's the first half of the doubleheader. Second half, Jimmy and I will be back. Most of you to see the Kansas City at Denver game. Many to see the New England against the Rams. Indianapolis at the New York Jets, or Cleveland at the Los Angeles Raiders. For our San Diego viewers, well, the Chargers will be hosting Dallas, and that game will be on CBS. Denver first down at the San Diego 44. Clarence Kay showing motion, and Elway sets it very quickly, and he throws incomplete. Took only 3 steps on the setup, had time, but nobody was open. So it'll be second down. Let's check the scores. And these are the early games. The Jets over Atlanta. They win. New England wins. Chicago wins. New Orleans upsetting the Rams. Kansas City over Seattle. Kansas City here next week. Houston winning. Washington over Green Bay. Detroit losing to Minnesota. And Buffalo winning under their new coach over Pittsburgh. And the game's going on right now. We'll come back to that panel in just a minute. As this play is ready to go. Elway has completed 8 of 19 for 122 yards and an interception. It's up the screen, and it is. And goes to the tight end, Clarence Kay, with his second reception of the ball game. And he'll lose some major yardage on this one.
And Clarence Kay took quite a hit by Billy Ray Smith, who's out at the outside linebacker spot. They're setting a screen up here, but as soon as Clay catches the ball, he doesn't have time to turn around, and Billy Ray Smith beats the blockers in front, makes a big hit.
All right, again, these are the games going on with us right now. Dallas continuing to lead the Raiders. The Giants comfortably in front of Philadelphia. Joe Montana, 2 touchdown passes in San Francisco out in front of St. Louis. Here, surprisingly, it's the Chargers 6, the Broncos 3, with 2:45 left to go. We're in the third quarter. Elway third and 17. Sampson did not play against the Raiders last week. This is his first reception of this ball game. He was bothered by a hamstring. He's been the forgotten man.
Yeah, he's been the forgotten wide receiver now with Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson coming along. But here Elway knew exactly where he wanted to go, and he had man-to-man coverage downfield. And takes the ball away. Actually, Kenny Taylor didn't have that bad a position on him, but Sampson with a nice catch over the shoulder. A good throw by John Elway.
To the 8-yard line where it is first down and goal to go. Sammy Weiner is diving to the 5-yard line. He picks up 3. He runs into almost everybody on the defensive line. Second down and goal to go.
It's imperative for the morale of the Broncos that they get something out of this, regardless if it's just a field goal. Remember, 2 times inside the green zone, once in the second quarter when the interception by Jeff Dale ended their threat. And the next time, when Elway was trying on the quarterback draw to get some more yardage, he fumbles at the 9, and the Chargers turn him away.
And the green zone is inside your opponent's 20-yard line. Mark at the 4-yard line, second down, goal to go. Watson in motion. Elway to throw. Fires it. It is Jeff Dale. Only Elway can stop him. Dale pushed out by Elway at the 48-yard line. Jeff Dale with his second interception of the ball game. 49 yards on the return. And the crowd is stunned here at Mile High Stadium.
And one more time, it's Jeff Dale who turns it away 3 times now in the money area, and the Chargers turn the Broncos away. There you see Dale stepping in front. Some defensive back really crushed a wide receiver right behind. But here it seemed that if Dale had just waited a second, he might have been going for the score. He had a host of blockers behind him, and John Elway was the only one to prevent a touchdown.
San Diego now, they say, the 48-yard line, first down. And the crowd back in it. They want to rattle the young quarterback. Here's Curtis Adams. And he has 3 to the Denver 49. Second down and 7. Carl Mecklenburg with the tackle. We have a report on Steve Sewell as a shoulder injury for the Broncos. He will not return. So Denver is And they're having quite a few injuries. Steve Foley is out with a sprained ankle, and he will not return. Will Hyde has been hobbling, and Keith Bishop has been hurt. Second down and 7. Flick, a little play action. Flag is down. He goes to Kellen Winslow. Winslow has the reception, is out of bounds, probably no gain, but there was a marker down on the play. Ricky Hundley and Mark Haynes were there for the Denver defense. The Chargers offsides. Al Saunders, the new head coach of San Diego. His record is 0-1. Said last week after the game, his first game as head coach, as the game was over, he forgot to shake hands with his opposing coach, the head coach of Kansas City.
Offense. Offside. Decline.
Winslow was offsides, and it was declined. He said, I was thinking about what I was going to say to the players in the locker room. I got in the locker room, I completely forgot about it. They told John McAfee. John said, that's all right, don't worry about it.
He ran over to the other locker room to make sure that he talked to John before he left the stadium.
That's right. He said, I didn't mean anything. He said, I just thought I ought to get in. So,
no one told
very human story.
Yes, and no one told him it's about 40 degrees out there. He must be really pumped up because he's there without a coat at all.
With the gun, that is the end of the third quarter. With the score, San Diego 6, Denver 3. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Now let's look at the statistic. The time of possession is getting a little bit closer. In fact, all of the statistics are closer, reflecting the closest of the big stat. The score, San Diego 6 and Denver 3.
And Tom Flick continues to do it through the third quarter. His passing yardage are close to John Elway's. He, in fact, passed John Elway's. He's doing quite a job for the Chargers.
San Diego's offense ineffective in the third quarter. They gained only 8 yards in the third quarter. They didn't give up any points. Their defense has really played well. Second and 7 at the Denver 49. Flick has pressure, a blitz coming, and he throws, and it is pulled down by Kellen Winslow. First down for San Diego. A gain of 12 yards on the play.
And Flick showing a lot of poise. Randy Robbins blitzing from his safety position. And he had an arm on Flick, but Flick just kind of pushed him away and got the ball downfield and on target.
At the Denver 37-yard line. Winslow, 7 receptions, 55 yards.
We mentioned before a lot of pressure on Winslow. He was talking a lot this week, speaking about the linebackers of the Broncos, and that's who covers him. But he's pulling out with 7 catches.
First down at the 37-yard line. Chandler in motion. The give is inside to Tim Spencer. Spencer has 5 to the 32. It'll be second down and 5 as Jim Ryan makes the tackle. And that's the first carry for Tim Spencer. He has been bothered by that ankle injury as we check the scores in the National Football League. These are the games in progress. Oh, the Raiders have tied it up. The Raiders in Dallas tied at 10-10. The Giants 17. Philadelphia left. No, that's not true. And San Francisco leads St. Louis 23-10. That's still 17-0 in that score. Second and 5 here at San Diego 6. Denver 3. From the big upsets in the making. Adams. 31-yard line. Let's give him a yard. It's going to be third down and 4 as Jim Ryan and Mark Haynes make the tackle.
And with third down and about 5 yards to go inside the, what about the 32-yard line, I would imagine the Chargers are still going to stay fairly conservative. If they throw the ball, probably high percentage pass, maybe the Kellen Winslow or to a back coming out of the backfield. They would like to get a field goal, so they would force the Broncos to go in and score a touchdown in order to pull the game out.
And San Diego has converted 7 of 11 third down opportunities. In that Raiders-Dallas game, Jim Plunkett is now the quarterback and has thrown a touchdown pass to Doki Williams. I said, looking tight at 10, knocked away. Pressure coming from the outside. It was the strong safety, Dennis Smith, with the blitz.
And if Dennis Smith does not get to this ball, then Pete Holohan has a first down and probably a whole lot more. There you see him putting that big left paw up and blocking it away. But if not, Holohan has it and is down the sideline for a big gain by the Chargers. Once again, Holohan was the hot receiver, meaning there were too many blitzers on that side of the line of scrimmage for the Chargers to pick him up. So he breaks his pattern off, and Flick throws a quick pass, but that time it was Dennis Smith, who blocks it away.
49 yards away. Benerska. Does it make it? He just barely clears, but there's a flag down. It went through the uprights and cleared the crossbar with just a couple of feet to spare. And it was holding against the Denver Broncos. I believe I heard 75. That's Rulon Jones.
And what he said was 75 pulling. What normally happens is that a big defensive lineman will grab an offensive lineman, try to pull him to the ground, allowing someone to come from the backside and block the kick.
That was 4th down and 5. And that defensive penalty carries with it a first down. Now, you've got 3 points on the board. 3 points in the pocket.
Leave them on.
I think you take the 3 points.
Yeah, especially with the situation you've been in with a brand new quarterback. Leave the 3 points on the clock. A rule in the NFL, I think, to live by is never take points off the board. But guess what?
Defense, number 75. Holding. Accepted. 5 yards. First down.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I am too. They're going to go with it, take the points off the board, and now you open up a whole lot of possibilities. Sure, you can go down the field. You have to have confidence in your quarterback, you may say, but why take 3 points off the board against a very normally strong Denver defense?
And Steve Dance, our producer, pointing out to us that it's only a 6-point lead, which is correct, but also you've held Denver to only 1 field goal, and you don't want to take points away. Oh, I don't like to see him take points away. Anybody. But let's see. They made the decision at the Denver 27-yard line, first down. Adams just slipped, but still took the handoff, and he'll pick up 5 yards to the 22. And it's going to be 2nd down and 5. And, of course, one of the possibilities in consideration of taking the points off, run some more time off the clock.
Yes, but the Chargers have not gotten into the end zone all day long.
That's right.
So what are they what do you do? Get into position for a
closer one?
kick?
You've already got it.
That's right.
No, the only time they really threatened the end zone was the long lateral to Holohan, the pass to Winslow down the sideline where he just was barely stepped out of bounds. And quick, there's a mix-up. And he gets down at the 22, which is the line of scrimmage. And it'll be 3rd down and 5. Rulon Jones was there.
A brave quarterback. Fall down when this happens, pal.
Oh, yes.
Fall up a piece of turf, dig yourself a hole, and fall in it. Let's find out what happens. It seems like, well, there
Adams
it is.
with the wrong
right.
way,
Curtis Adams, who's brand new. Well, not really brand new. He's been with the team for a year and a half, but his first game back, and goes the wrong way. And Flick is forced to eat the ball.
And as a statistic, it is called a sack. Anytime a quarterback gets up with the ball, stop behind the line of scrimmage, it's a sack. That's a sack. 2nd for Denver. 3rd down and 5. The blitz, the pass is complete over the middle. And maybe the first down. Pete Holohan pulls it down. He only needed 5. Tony Lilly made the tackle. And should be a first down by just about a foot, but they may want to bring the chains out just to make sure. Just outside the 16-yard line. The clock is stopped now with 11:20. That is the time remaining in the ball game. As San Diego leads 6-3, they've led all the way. It's tied at 3-3 at one time. And it's the first down. The ball at the Denver 16-yard line. Al Saunders facing the sideline. The Chargers this year 1-8. The Denver Broncos, they're 8-1. Kansas City won their ball game today over Seattle 27-7. So Kansas City in 2nd place in the West. Their record is 7-3. Chandler in motion. Spencer to the 12. Gain of 4, 2nd down and 6. Mecklenburg with the tackle.
Carl Mecklenburg, as we said, maybe the only second time we've talked about him this afternoon. He has already played. In fact, in the first drive, the Chargers went downfield and ate up about 9 minutes of the clock. He played 6 different defensive positions. He played a couple of linebacking spots and all of the front line spots. He's really all over the field.
Spencer comes out limping a little. He's been bothered by that ankle injury. 2nd down and 6. 10. It'll be 3rd down and 4. And we're moving on the 10-minute mark of time remaining in the ball game. Dennis Smith with a tackle.
Pete Holohan missed a block on Smith on the corner. Would have sprung the ball carrier for a few extra yards. We're back into that situation. 3rd down, about 6. You might as well throw the ball down here. Don't run it and set up the field goal. You took it off the board now.
Right.
Throw the ball into the end zone, or at least enough for a 1st down.
Gary Anderson in the ball game. And Flick wants a timeout. So Tom Flick with the timeout, stopping the clock now with 9:39 time remaining in the ball game. San Diego has the lead, 6-3. And a special hello to our NBC affiliate in Albuquerque, New Mexico. They had the choice of this game or the Raiders-Cowboys game. They did a survey. 20,000 responded. They selected this game by 22 votes. Maybe they knew something. All right. Good call, Albuquerque. Here's Flick. Anderson inside, and it is close. Close to the 5-yard line, close to the 1st down.
And it appears he has it. That's a little shuffle pass. It's very safe because if Anderson doesn't catch this football, it's an incomplete pass. It may look like a lateral or something, but it's actually forward, meaning it's a forward pass. So if he drops it, very safe play.
And they have the 1st down. It'll be 1st down and goal to go. Anderson is limping a bit. He's not been in this drive. He's only been in a couple of plays.
We mentioned the turf. He slipped a little bit on that play, and we mentioned it's frozen just a slight bit. And a lot of turf has been going various ways, and a little slippery out there.
1st down, goal to go, 5-yard line. Curtis Adams. Ricky Hundley with the tackle. Still at the 5. 2nd down, goal to go.
The Chargers were in this position once before in the 1st quarter when they had a 1st and goal at the 8. They wind up not successful, having to take the field goal. The Broncos, as I said earlier, very tough last week against the Raiders inside the 10, improving so against the Chargers again this week.
Dallas by 3, Giants big, San Francisco big. 2nd and goal to go, 5. Winslow in motion, doubles back. The give is inside to Tim Spencer. Just a yard. That's going to be it at the 4. It's going to be 3rd down and goal to go. Now you've got to throw.
Yeah, you've got to throw. I think you do it. It comes back to that position of them taking 3 points off the board, because regardless how close they get down here, I still think they've got to, do you go for the field goal or the touchdown? You took 3 off the board anyway. He's got to throw the football down here. It's inside of the 4-yard, just about at the 4-yard line. He's got a lot of choices he can go to, but again, they took a lot of their passing attack away because of Tom Flick's inexperience.
And Mecklenburg not in the game for Denver. 3rd down, goal to go. The short yardage defense is there. And Flick rolls out, wants to throw. He's in trouble. He's going to throw it away. Almost intercepted. They say, oh, ever so close to the interception. Winslow was the nearest receiver, and Steve Wilson almost had the interception.
Steve Wilson comes very close to keeping his feet in bounds and making the catch at the same time. Does he do it?
No, he gets that knee down. The left foot was in, and the right knee went down.
Right knee out of bounds, and the official right there making a good call of it. That time, Flick should have thrown it very far out of bounds. No one was open. Winslow certainly was not. Different angle, tougher to see. But again, Wilson's right knee out of bounds.
Now Benerska from 22 yards away. Low snap. Matheson the holder. It is up, and it is good. So Benerska did it twice. This time from 22 yards out, and the Chargers lead by 6, 9-3.
Just a little bit of something special here on a Sunday afternoon in Denver. Happy birthday. Oh, I don't think I lit the candle very well, but you get the general idea.
It would probably explode, but thank you.
How many years in network television?
27.
And I'm your 45th
45th
analyst?
yes.
Either, I've heard the rumor you are the plague of the NFL analyst. That's been the rumor.
Yeah. I'll make a wish. I wish that we'll be here for 27 more years. How's that?
That's a good wish.
All right. Thank you. Well, that's neat. Probably the worst looking cake that I've ever seen in my life. But I appreciate it. It's the thought.
They kept telling him, make sure Charlie doesn't eat it. I don't know why. They said, don't eat
How
the
much
cake.
time do we have? 7:13. No, okay. The Chargers did run some more time off of the scoreboard. 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So we have just over 7 minutes left in the ball game. And Denver has the ball down by 6. And a lot of time. But Elway has not been effective. And John's got to crank it up. He goes deep to Jackson, and he can't get to it. It'll be 2nd down and 10 back at the 20-yard line. Kenny Taylor had the coverage.
And it was a zone defense that time. Mark Jackson has a lot of speed and good against the man-to-man coverage, but here it's a zone, and so Kenny Taylor has a cushion deep off. That forces Mark Jackson to try and simply run past him, which is very difficult for a wide receiver. He didn't give him anything early. That was his problem. Mark Jackson usually, you give a little spot, maybe an out or a quick hook, and then go past the defender trying to freeze him. That time, Mark Jackson relying simply on his speed to go by Kenny Taylor, and it doesn't work.
Elway under 50%, 10 of 23, 158 yards, 2 interceptions. 2nd down and 10. And they're going to rule it that he got the pass off and that he was not in the grass, so it goes as an incomplete pass. As Earl Wilson had a hold of him and was pulling him down. 3rd down and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, the question is it in the grasp or not? You'll see Earl Wilson from the backside going. He has a hold of him there, and Elway on his way down throws it away. I don't think there's much question that that was in the grasp. But that is a call. Maybe that's a little unfair because it is a call the officials have to make. But it seems a little inconsistent because normally a quarterback with one arm on him gets the call for in the grasp.
And that was the call here. They said he had only one arm, so he wasn't in the grass. 3rd down and 10. Elway from the shotgun. Steps away. Oh, he's nimble. Buys a little time, throws, he completes the pass to the 27-yard line. And he goes to Vance Johnson, but it will be 4th down and about 3. D. Hardison for the San Diego Chargers. I don't think any other quarterback in the NFL could have even gotten to the point where he could throw that pass besides Elway.
No, as I said before, I think Elway and Joe Montana are in a class by themselves as far as throwing the football on the run. He had to come completely across his body to get that off, let alone have enough on it to complete the pass.
52-yard kicking average for Norman. He's been having his problems until this game. And Gary Anderson is the return man. 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Bad snap. Loses it again. The Chargers had the ball at the 17-yard line. Keith Bishop is the snapper. He's been bothered by the knee injury. Last week did not play, only the long snap.
But that's not a bad snap. No, that isn't very bad. That's around the knee, and Norman should have had that one. Then he tries to pick it up a couple of times and unable to come up with it. But Bishop, known as the best long snapper in football, that is one that should have been handled by Norman.
And Vincey Glenn will receive credit for a fumble recovery. It goes as a turnover. And San Diego has the ball at the 17-yard line of Denver. Who would have believed that with 6 minutes to go in the ballgame, the Chargers would lead 9-3 and have the ball at the Denver 17. Curtis Adams stopped at the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10. Jim Ryan was there, along with Ricky Hundley, and there's a flag down.
Defense, number 52. Lined up in the neutral zone, offside, 5 yards, still 1st down.
Ken Woodard.
lining up in the neutral zone. Absolutely correct. And you're walking around a lot more nimbly than before. You talked about the nimbleness of John Elway. I know Dr. Dick Gilbert made a booth call before. He happens to be the physician for the Chargers, also checking up on you, I understand.
Yes.
Will you be charged for a booth call?
Probably. This is the third. He made one in Kansas City. He made a booth call. Maybe the only doctor in America that makes booth calls. Nice to come around. But we got the cast off of the foot a couple of weeks ago. And still have a little use of the cane, but it's coming back very soon. It's getting there. It's getting there.
I'm tired of carrying you up and down the steps in these stadiums, trying to get better quick.
I knew you'd bring that up, but I keep telling you about the rookies. You finally figured it out.
Right.
All right. 5 minutes and 51 seconds. That is the time remaining in the game. First and 5 at the 11-yard line. Chargers going for only their second victory of the year. Tim Spencer, a yard to the 10. Second and 4. Jim Ryan with the tackle.
And now the Chargers want to play as conservatively as possible. Sure, they'd like the touchdown, but they'll settle for the 3 points here because that puts them then up by 9 points. It forces the Broncos to come back with 2 scores. They want to be very careful with the football. You notice that Gary Anderson has not been in the game. They've gone to the 2 running backs, Tim Spencer and Curtis Adams, trying to get a little bit more blocking maybe involved inside. And Anderson has not been in the game during this drive.
7 seconds in the 30-second clock. They're using up as much of that clock as possible. The snap with 1 second on the clock. Adams the ball carrier. And he gets the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Still at the 10. It'll be 3rd down and 4. And I suspect the same thing will happen again.
Yeah, there's no need in getting brave at this point in the game. Al Saunders has put his team in a position to win the football game. And that's where they're at right now. They can only give it away. So he probably wants to play as conservatively as possible, give it to another running back, grind it out. They need 3rd and about 2.5 or 3 yards. If they get the first down, fine. They'll try to go for the score. If not, kick the field goal and force the Broncos to score a touchdown and a field goal if they're going to win the game.
Adams, 9-yard line. 4th down and 3. And the field goal team will come in. Ricky Hundley making the tackle. And Adams just taking a breather. Now the clock being wound and the 30-second clock starts. 27 yards on the attempt. Benerska is 3 for 3 in this game. 25, 48, and 22 yards. Remember, he had 1 taken off. Because of a penalty, they elected to run some more time off the clock and got away with it. 27 yards away. Matheson with the hold. And it is no good. So the Broncos still have a chance. We'll be back. Let's go to the hold of Bruce Matheson.
Now Matheson is holding for the first time. Ralph Majenko, the punter, the former holder, he gets it down and gets the laces straight up. He seemed to know right away that it was just hooked to the, not hooked, but he just shanked it to the right side of the
field.
field.
And, yeah, it goes right and never comes back.
Yeah, he never got the natural hook that a field goal kicker usually gets.
Now Matheson has been holding this whole ball game. Majenko was holding prior to this ball game. So the margin is still 6 points. A touchdown by the Broncos, and they can win. Chuck Ian for the defense, stopping Sammy Winder. Gain of 4 to the 24. 2nd down and 6, and the time 3:17 and counting.
Well, right now, the play selection will not alter because they need a touchdown instead of a field goal. But as time goes down the field and they start worrying on their timeouts, then their play selection will change because they need the touchdown instead of just the 3 points.
Elway fires. Incomplete. Winder, the intended receiver. It is going to be 3rd down and 6 at the 24. Elway, only 11 of 26. 11 of 12 last week, 11 of 26 this week. 165 yards, 2 interceptions, and a fumble that he lost on the quarterback draw. It has not been John's day. 3rd down and 6. 3:01, time remaining. Elway throws over the middle. Is Watson incomplete. Steve Watson diving for it. Kenny Taylor right behind him. And that look tells the story of the Broncos in this ballgame.
Well, Watson has not had a catch all day. He's got man-to-man with Taylor. Makes a good job of getting inside. The ball is led just a little bit too far, but Steve Watson normally comes up with those passes. And to be perfectly honest, that's a drop. Steve Watson has to come up with that catch in this situation. Would have given the Broncos a 1st down, allowing them to try to drive down the field.
Watson does not have a reception in the ballgame. Now, Norman fumbled the snap last time. Anderson, the return man. Pretty good kick. Anderson signals for a fair catch and takes it at the 29-yard line. I think he was a 46-yard kick. I think he was told. You're going to take it. You're not going to return and fumble like you did before.
Well, the Chargers had their prevent defense in there. They weren't exactly sure that Norman was going to punt that football away.
Today's telecast, presented by Authority, the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited. So San Diego goes to work from their own 30-yard line, 1st down, leading by 6, 9-3, with 2 minutes and 48 seconds left. Denver has 3 timeouts remaining. San Diego has 2. Tim Spencer. It's going to be 2nd down. If we give him a yard to the 31, it'll be 2nd and 9. And there's a look at the clock.
The Broncos with 3 timeouts remaining. And, of course, allowed the 2-minute warning to give them an extra timeout. They'll have plenty of time if they can stop the Chargers to get the football back. You notice Spencer, every time he goes through the line of scrimmage, I imagine Curtis Adams will do the same thing. Both hands covered up on the football.
First back through is Spencer. 34-yard line. Gain of 3. 3rd down and 6. And the 2-minute warning will now be given to both benches. We'll take a timeout with 2 minutes to go. San Diego leads 9-3. Tom Flick, the 3rd-string quarterback for the San Diego Chargers, today has completed 77% of his passes. 17 of 22. He's thrown for an interception, threw for 130 yards.
And what a turnaround from a week ago. He was 4 of 17 with 4 interceptions in his first NFL start against Kansas City last week. And now pressed a little bit. And you got to have so much confidence in your own ability when you're an NFL quarterback. And to have such a poor football game. Art Still, Kansas City defensive end last week, but he was being interviewed after the game, said, please tell Tom Flick that he's got a good future ahead of him. He's going to be a good NFL quarterback, and he played a better football game than he thinks right now. Please tell him that. Nice thing by Art Still to do. And Flick maybe listened a little bit because he did come back 17 of 22. Tremendous confidence and poise all afternoon long.
3rd down and 6. 2 minutes to go. San Diego leads by 6 points. 9-3. Short of the 1st down. Jim Ryan makes the tackle. And Denver is going to stop the clock. Take their first timeout. 37-yard line. 4th down and 3. And with that timeout, we'll be back in a moment. In the 4th quarter, the Cowboys ahead of the Raiders. The Giants by 10 over Philadelphia. And a great return for Joe Montana, leading St. Louis by 33 points. Mojico gets it away. And Johnson on the return. To the 26-yard line. 47-yard kick and 11-yard return. Jim Leonard makes the tackle. 1:42. That is the time remaining. Clock is stopped on the change of possession. And Denver has They don't have they've got field position at their own 26-yard line.
They've really struggled during the second
Yes, they
half.
have.
Poor field position, and here's their possessions. The first time in the second half, a punt, a fumble, an interception. Then they fumbled on that punt with Norman dropping the ball, and another punt. So second half, 5 possessions, and not a first down that has really worked toward their favor.
And they started from their own 11, 15, 44, 20, 20, and now 26-yard line. Elway throws, and it's there. To the San Diego 48-yard line, Mark Jackson. 26 yards on the play. And here come the Broncos. Gil Bird with the tackle. Denver, 2 timeouts remaining. Can they pull it out? They trail by 6. And we have officials stopping the clock.
The Chargers called
a timeout.
They were confused defensively.
Timeout number 2.
Second timeout for San Diego. So they have 1 remaining. The Broncos have 2. That stops the clock with 1:18.
And what a big mistake. That saves it down for the Broncos, because in that situation, Elway may have just thrown it out of bounds to try and stop the clock, or maybe he had 2 plays called in the huddle prior to his first throw, and they had something working. But at the best for the San Diego Chargers, it only saved the Denver Broncos a down. It also saved them a timeout later on toward the end of the game.
Now in the AFC West, Denver coming in this ballgame, their record is 8-1. Kansas City won today over Seattle. They're now 7-3. If Denver loses and they now trail, they're only a game in front of Kansas City, who they host next week here. The Raiders right now are losing, so their record looks as if it's going to 5-5. Seattle is 5-5. San Diego, if they win, they'll be 2-8 in the West. So the difference for Denver is either a 1-game bulge or a 2-game bulge over Kansas City, who they host.
And coming into today's action, they had a great opportunity to maybe put this Western Division away. If Kansas City is beaten by Seattle, and if the Broncos win today, they're 3 games up with only 7 remaining. And under those circumstances, the Western Division would have been just about over. But now, with Kansas City beating Seattle this afternoon, and the Broncos on the verge of losing, a 1-game bulge, and it's again a race in the Western Division.
1:18, time remaining. Elway needs a miracle here in Mile High. 4-man rush by San Diego. Pass is complete to Wilhite. 42-yard line, gain of 6, second down 4. Hurry up offense. Ray Plummer with the tackle. 103 and counting. Elway drops this one off, and it will go for a loss. Billy Ray Smith was there. Wilhite was on the receiving end. And Denver takes their second timeout. They now have 1 remaining. They lose about 10 yards on that last play. No, see where the officials are going to mark the ball. There was a flag down. San Diego offside. Now the line of scrimmage was the 42-yard line. And that will give Denver a first down.
Defense, number 99, offside.
Lee Williams offside.
There's no timeout.
Because of the penalty, no timeout was charged. So rather than the ball back at the 50-yard line, it's going to be at the 37-yard line. Big difference, of course. And it's a first down. It would have been 3rd down and long. 55 seconds. High snap. Away with time. To Winder. And it's a first down. It would have been 3rd down and long. 55 seconds. High snap. Away with time. To Winder. And it is incomplete. Billy Ray Smith was there. That stops the clock. 43 seconds.
And probably better for the Broncos that it was incomplete. Would have been a gain of just about a yard or so, and the clock would have continued to run. But now Elway goes to the bench because the time is out with the incomplete pass. Checks with Reeves and has a play back into the huddle.
We have 43 seconds left to go. San Diego on the verge of their biggest upset of the year. Leading by 6. Denver with the ball. At the San Diego 37. 2nd and 10. Elway steps away. He eludes the defense. He's past the line of scrimmage. He goes for the first down and out of bounds. Stops the clock. 25-yard line. 32 seconds left. He scrambles for 12. But he needs a touchdown. Remember, a field goal is not going to help here.
That's right. Just one timeout remaining. Elway has got to get the ball toward the end zone. The middle of the field is not going to help him very much. If he goes to the middle of the field with the pass, he's going to have to use up his last timeout. But look at his amazing scrambling ability, going to the side, avoiding the rush, realizing, having the presence of mind. He was past the line of scrimmage, knowing enough to get the first down yardage and sliding out of bounds. And Chuck Ian was the one forcing him along the sideline for the Chargers.
We've got a timeout called. With 32 seconds left to go. And the ball at the San Diego 25-yard line. As John Elway and his head coach Dan Reeves talk it over. Who was that charged against? Who took the timeout? Denver took the timeout. Raiders back in front of Dallas. Oh, so if the Raiders win, their record would be 6-4. And so things could well snuggle up and even more in the West. Giants by 10. These are finals now. The Jets winning. New England winning over Indianapolis and Chicago over Tampa Bay. These are the early games. New Orleans upsetting the Rams. Kansas City over Seattle, and Houston upsetting Cincinnati. Washington winning, Minnesota winning, and Buffalo defeating Pittsburgh. That's an upset in a way, I would think, yes. And our score here, and that's an upset so far. 32 seconds left. The Chargers and the Broncos now each with a timeout remaining. Remember that other timeout due to the penalty was not called, was not charged. Elway has pressure, throws to the end zone. It is intercepted in the end zone by San Diego. And that could well save the victory. With his first interception of the year and the third interception that Elway has thrown, the 5th turnover by the Broncos.
And on each occasion, the interceptions, the big turnovers came in positions where the Broncos might have had a chance to get some points on the board. But here, Elway, no chance to fit it in here. He threw it in the middle of traffic. It seemed that he should have thrown the ball completely out of bounds because Sampson nowhere close to being open. And Vincey Glenn, a big day for him, his first NFL start coming in. Just replaced at the last second. He came in and became a starter when Gilbert moved over to the corner spot. A big day in making the interception. And it looks like he's going to close the victory out for the San Diego Chargers.
And a big day for Al Saunders, as now the Chargers will be able to run out the clock. The Broncos have one timeout remaining. They'll take it right here. And when Elway threw his last interception of the day, his third, he had a first down at the 25-yard line. And so he wasn't running out of time or down.
No, he had one timeout left. He had 32 seconds on the clock. He apparently did not have anyone open because Sampson was nowhere close to being open in the end zone. So, you know, hindsight is great, but he should have thrown the ball out of bounds or better than running with it because he would have saved the last timeout that he held. And just simply line up and throw it again. 32 seconds is an eternity in the NFL.
And the most valuable player has to be Tom Flick, the quarterback of the San Diego Chargers. And he is saluted by Budweiser, and Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all of the MVPs selected this year. Flick completing 17 of 22 for 130 yards, and he suffered that one interception, but won a turnaround from a week ago, and he led the Chargers to their biggest upset of the season, and only their second win. As we take the final countdown at Mile High Stadium, and remember Al Saunders? A week ago, he forgot. Of course, he remembers this week. He shakes hands with Dan Reeves, his opposing head coach, and Tom Flick. He's got the game ball. He said, I don't care who they award one to. I've got mine.
I've got a feeling he's going to get the game ball in the locker room as well. I don't think they can pass up his performance this afternoon, nor the performance of Al Saunders, a happy man today.
And Al Saunders, when we talked to him this week, he was very upbeat. He felt, that they could pull off the upset. It was like almost a great opportunity disguised as an impossible situation. And Dan Reeves worried about the fact, talked about it to his players all week. They're a better team than that. Don't let the films fool you.
And the first words out of his mouth in the locker room, I told you so. And the Broncos apparently did not believe Dan Reeves, that simply by virtue of being 8-1 does not guarantee a victory in the NFL over a team that just happens to be 1-8.
So Denver is now 8-2. Kansas City only one game back in the West at 7-3, and those two teams will meet here at Mile High Stadium next Sunday. The final was 9-3. San Diego wins it, and we'll be back.